Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Max Cunningham, and I am the Group Executive of Capital of Listings at ASX. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's virtual listing ceremony for Pacific Edge Limited, which will shortly commence trading under the ticker PEB. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Pacific Edge's board, and in particular the Chair, Chris Gallaher, and the management on this call. In particular, Chief Executive Officer David Darling, who will shortly ring the bell to mark the official listing and commencement of trading of Pacific Edge shares on ASX. This is an important event as we welcome Pacific Edge to the ASX boards, taking its place amongst the approximately 2,200 listed entities trading on the ASX, representing a combined market capitalisation of $2 trillion. Pacific Edge will officially mark the 64th current New Zealand listing on the ASX and the 4th Kiwi company to list on ASX this calendar year. New Zealand is a market we've focused strong effort towards, working closely with companies and advisors to promote listing on ASX as a way to access a wider and deeper pool of capital. Pacific Edge will take its place within ASX's broad and deep life sciences and biotechnology sector, which has a market capitalisation of around about $1 billion. And this will ensure you get great prominence and profile within that sector. Pacific Edge is a cancer diagnostic company. It specialises in discovering, building and commercialising innovative cancer diagnostic tests that can contribute to clinically meaningful difference in the detection and management of cancer. Pacific Edge's vision is to see a world where the early diagnosis and better treatment of cancer is within everyone's reach. Today, we mark yet another step in Pacific Edge's journey. So to the Pacific Edge team, your partners and advisors, we appreciate the confidence that you've shown in ASX, and we're committed to helping you achieve your ambitions as a publicly listed company. Congratulations. We wish you all the best in this next phase of growth and every success for the future. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Ben Hatava from ASX, who will explain the trading screen leading up to the 11 a.m. Sydney and 2 p.m. Dunedin commencement of trading. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Max. And if you can all see my screen, I'll begin walking you through to the commencement of trading. The first thing to note on the right-hand side here is with the time you can see there is just over a minute until Pacific Edge commences trading on the ASX. To the left-hand side, you can see these two panels in purple, the M price and M vol. This is the indicative market price and volume that would trade should trading commence right now. Currently for Pacific Edge, that is standing at $1.60 with just under 40,000 shares traded. With about 40 seconds to go, if you look to the left-hand side, you can see what is called the order book. On the left-hand side, we have the buy orders or bids, and the right, the asks or sell orders. And the terms highlighted in pink will be matched directly on open. As that occurs, you'll see that populating this screen to the right, and that will translate into the share price and will continue to track throughout the day. With about 40 seconds to go, I'll invite David to get ready to ring the bell, as we will do a countdown from 10 seconds. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see a cohort of the listed peers. Let's get ready for the countdown as it is coming here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Congratulations to Pacific Group and David. You have opened with a price of $1.60. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is David Darling, Chief Executive Officer of Pacific Edge, and I'm delighted and privileged to ring the bell and commence the trading of Pacific Edge shares on the Australian Stock Exchange. This is another landmark event for our company, which has grown over the last 20 years from a small research organisation with an innovative vision on how to better diagnose cancer into an organisation with global markets and significant growth potential. Our Cxbladder suite of 4 non-invasive diagnostic tests are making a step change in how bladder cancer is diagnosed and managed. Cxbladder is simple to use, cost-effective, clinically proven, and importantly for our patients, accurate and non-invasive. With significant commercial milestones now achieved and the recent successful capital raise by way of placement to new and existing shareholders, we're moving into the future with substantial capital in the bank to accelerate our growth plans and realise the significant opportunities available to our company. This is a global commercial opportunity of significant scale, and we have first mover advantage. The multi-billion-dollar US market for our Cxbladder products remains our biggest opportunity, followed closely by the potential of Southeast Asia. New Zealand has led the way in proving our business model, and our tests provide significant value and utility for healthcare providers, payers, and patients alike. And we're now underway in rolling out the same successful business model for Australia. It's not every CEO that has the opportunity to see a company evolve from startup to growth. And so I'd like to thank the Pacific Edge team of passionate and expert people that have shared our vision and belief in what we can achieve. We couldn't have got there without you, and we are confident in moving ahead with our future in your hands. And now I'd like to hand over to Chris Gallaher, the chairman of Pacific Edge, to say a few words.
Thanks, Dave. Can I commence with just giving a sense of why we're making this move? For some time now, the board has been considering the best way for us to broaden our investor base, to improve the liquidity in our shares, and to improve research coverage of the company. Which then takes us to why the ASX. And as has been mentioned earlier, we believe the ASX does have a deep and well understood life sciences, medtech and biotech sector into which Pacific Edge will nicely slot. It opens up Pacific Edge to international investors who would otherwise find it more difficult to invest through our home market. It makes it easier for Australians to invest in the company. And last, by no means least, it's very close to home, as both Brian Williams, the Deputy Chairman, and I live in Melbourne. It's a well-trodden path for New Zealand companies, as has been mentioned, and the road was cleared well by the experiences of those companies. The capital raise last week has proved the theory. We had a very successful cap raise, which was significantly oversubscribed and required major scaling of people's demand. We've added some terrific long-term institutional investors onto our register who will hold their shares on the ASX. We have found the process an easy one to adopt. The ASX have gone out of their way to make it a smooth flowing process. The New Zealand market has responded to the capital raise very positively, and we hope that is a sentiment that crosses the Tasman today. On behalf of the board, I would like sincere thanks to those who have made this happen today. Our joint lead managers, Bell Potter, Jardins and Forsyth Barr, our legal teams at Mills Oakley and Anderson Lloyd, and in particular our board and staff who have put in a very big effort to make this happen. And last but by no means least, a big thanks to our shareholders who supported so strongly the capital raise last week. With that, I'd like to hand it back to Max.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, David. This is the point where if we're all in a room together, we would firstly hand you a listing certificate. I don't know whether have you got one of those, David? Has it made its way to you yet? No.
Not yet.
But anyway, there's plenty of time for that. We'd also clink a glass of champagne, and maybe it's a little early in Sydney and Melbourne, but maybe you can celebrate this afternoon, David.
Thank you.
Finally, I will just say, obviously one of the reasons for listing is liquidity. In a secondary listing from New Zealand, those things can take a little while to develop. That said, your placement last week, which was well received, helps that process, and particularly, as you said, you had shares settled on the Australian register. That will also complement that process. So the stock is currently trading at around about $1.56. It's been trading in a good band while the speech has been ongoing. But I think most importantly, the figure we always look at more than the actual share price is volume, because liquidity is what helps you over the medium and longer term. And in this short period, you've done 125,000 shares through, so I think that's a fantastic outcome and great start for a secondary listing on the ASX. And my personal experience suggests that bodes very, very well for your future annual listing here. So from my perspective and from ASX, all we can do is thank you again, wish you all the best, and most importantly, I look forward to having that glass of champagne with you all in person at some time in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.